Pretend we're an attorney and we're billable hours. You've used attorneys. They turn on the billable hours at some point, only when they're working for Cody.
Correct.
When they're doing other stuff, it doesn't count. And so I'm like, can we look at it like that? And what I would say is if you would audit and be honest with yourself about the amount of hours that you're spending doing what makes you money in the business. And some people argue, I got to study and learn all these other things. And I'm like, when I was an accountant, I had to spend 40 hours being an accountant. But if I wanted to do more, I had to study and go to school outside of being an accountant. I didn't get to go to school while I was at my accounting job during the 40 hours and get better. I had to do my 40 hours plus get better outside of that. So when I changed my philosophy, like there's a timer on when I'm calling clients, when I'm sitting with clients, and when I'm interviewing potential agents. That's the only time my billable hours were on. When I changed to 40 hours of that, dude, it tripled my income.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and today our special guest is back, not for the first time, second time, third time. I don't even know how many times, man, because he keeps bringing gold and dropping massive nuggets. He was just on inside of our Ultimate Agent Academy, because we in our academy, ultimateagentacademy.com, we have private classes with different millionaires in our network around the industry. JW, Mr. John Wetmore, jumped in and absolutely crushed it. So welcome back to the channel and the podcast, Mr. John Wetmore.
Oh, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Dude,
I had someone tell me last night, I was in Mike and Jalen's team call with Impact on them.
Yes.
And someone jumped in, someone I don't know, he jumped in. He's like, man, I just want to say thanks. The video you and Cody did about such and such, man, it helped me so much. You know what I mean? Like I get that a lot between all the stuff we do. So I think it's pretty cool, dude. I love what we're doing.
Thanks, man. I do too, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, it's cool, man. Like that's never the initial, intent, or like you don't ever like expect it when you first start doing all this stuff that like, hey, it's going to change someone's life in Massachusetts or London or who knows where, right? Like, did you ever, this is a good question for you. I don't know if I ever asked you this. Did you ever dream that you would have a, insurance agency that's going to do a couple $100 million in premium and, you would be in a much different financial place than you used to be when you were just an accountant sitting in a desk all day? Like, this has got to be like a cool feeling to end up where you are today.
Yeah. I definitely never thought insurance ever in my life, in my wildest dreams. And even when I was in insurance, my vision was never this early. I mean, my vision year one was like, dude, if I can make 70 grand one day, I'll be fired up. I have that written. Like I'm a goal writing dude too.
Dude, I want to see that.
Yeah, I keep them. I can literally give you like the written version.
Yeah.
And 2012, my goal was to make $70,000.
2012.
Yeah. Yep. And then, I have like little inclinations over my life where I knew like, I kind of somewhere deep down knew I'd find a way eventually to make money. Like I always wanted to be like, I'd be rich one day. Like there was something always there. I always had some kind of hustle to try to figure out how to make a couple bucks. I was selling all kinds of things as a kid. You know what I mean? Like there was something there.
Yep. Where's that come from? Because that like some people innately know that like they're going to do something special one day,
Yeah. I didn't quite imagine. Now what I imagine is light years ahead of what I can even remotely touch. Yeah. Because I've just given what's happened with my limited vision. I'm like, imagine if I think big, what could happen? So I'm not 100% sure. I do know like my mom raised us in a way where she was always trying to get out of current situation and she was forward thinking. Like not in the get rid, like we were just trying to get off welfare and get out of the neighborhood in the projects, and she was going to get me out of there. And she wasn't going to let me go to this school that was more rough, if you will. You know what I mean? Like she was always trying to get us out of a situation. So seeing her do that is probably somewhat ingrained in me. Like you're always forward thinking and trying to get out of your current situation, especially in a broke, like we were broke, like straight up welfare for most of my life. As until I was in like my early 20s, the government was paying for something in my world.
Wow.
So I watched her climb out of that, single mom, teenage mom, growing up where we grew up, and we didn't have a car till I was like 10 or 11, and public transportation, what I mean? It was just watching her get out of that. That's the only thing that I can tie to, but my mom doesn't really have a big vision of like, I want to make a bunch of money and I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't have that in my family at all. I did grow up though, like in a culture where it was pretty normal to hustle for stuff.
Yep.
To see people selling CDs out of the trunk of a car was normal where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like people were always hustling, selling plenty of illegal stuff too. But there was always a little bit of a hustle culture for always around me. And I feel like once I learned this business was really just hustling, honestly, for me.
Yeah.
And then it evolved into certainly more of helping people and teaching others how to make money. But everything I say is ultimately a hustle in terms of doing more and activity and dials. You know what I mean? It's just like, just go out and hustle.
Yeah. And for those younger than us watching, a CD, not a
I forget, dude. Yeah, a lot of y'all don't know what that means. Dude, come on. You're telling me they don't still go to like New York City and someone go, here, you want to hear my music?
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Grab it, and the second you grab it, they want $5 or $10.
Correct.
That's gotta still exist.
It does. I'm kidding.
Okay.
It does.
Man. They're
like free, and then
yes, the second you grab it, they want money. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about like family and that kind of thing. Are you the most financially successful person in your family tree?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's cool. That's got to be a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's neat, man. I have an uncle that was like relative to the rest of them made some go. He was like an executive at like a ski resort, and he like drove a BMW. So I'm sure he made $100,000. I don't know I have no idea. I'm not close to him at all, but like relative to my family, there was this one dude who made a few bucks, you know what I mean? But I don't know anyone in my family that has a business, to be honest, of any kind, much less one that's made what we've been able to make
for sure
in 10 years. So it's neat.
Yeah. Also too, like, when you think about the way you grew up, because there's a lot of people that can relate to this. Like, I feel like a lot of people, the way they grow up, there's certain things, certain principles that are ingrained in them that they have trouble getting out to a degree, I'm not saying that's like wrong, but like it can limit your ability to create success, make more money, take risks, spend money, be an entrepreneur, et cetera, right? Yeah. How were you able to welfare, government help, et cetera, till, mid 20s, whatever? How were you able to break out of that? Like from a mindset standpoint?
Man, no one's ever asked me that. I don't think. I don't know if I have the perfect answer, because this is just we're literally going at this right now.
Yeah.
Knowing my personality, I hate being controlled. I hate being told what to do. I don't like being put in a corner. That's been me forever. There's something goes wrong there.
Yeah.
And in that environment, man, when the government they have a lot of control over you, or when you're at a job, you are controlled a lot. You are put in a corner. And I've never liked that. I mean, I can go back to second grade, skipping school, and my mom beating my ass because I did it. I like skipped school legit for the first time in second grade.
Wow.
I just didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to listen to the rules, and I didn't want to do homework when they said. I've always been a little bit of I'm kind of a pain in the ass about that stuff. And it's not necessarily the right thing to be, but I'm wired in that way, and it's hard for me. And I learned, man, when I can kind of, and I think there's always some level of that no matter what you do, even in business, as you know.
Yeah.
You get too big a client, you're controlled now by your client. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think for me, I learned it was some level of freedom that I really sought. I'm a big fan of that. I like being different than most. I like breaking the norm. I like standing out from the crowd. That's my personality. Like, even as stupid as the shoes I wear when I come to events. Dude, I don't typically have one that someone else had. Like, you know what I mean? Like one pair I stole from you, but I got a slightly different variation. I'm like, oh, I like those. Let me get this one.
Yeah.
But I like to be a little bit different, man. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't like to follow the flow the same. So I don't really know how I broke out, but I hated being controlled, man. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Do you think that actually hindered you early in your career because you were like less likely to like do what you were told and follow a set system to success?
Yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah, man. So I'm stubborn to a fault.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I've had to learn how to kind of comply sometimes too, and know when to go against my natural inclination. Like, what's that saying? Like, cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
Like I've done that, like in really dumb situations,
Mm.
and I had, thank God, I'm so grateful that, like, which you've obviously got to meet a little bit. You don't know him well, but Mike Killamet was around, and Steph helps me with that a lot. Between those two, in personal and business world, they really helped me with a lot of that kind of stuff. Like, allow me to be me, but yet challenge me when me hurts me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm thankful, man. I do like having people in my corner that will tell me the truth, because by nature, a lot of people won't. They feel very bulldozed by my personality sometimes. So sometimes people are afraid to speak up. And Amanda's the same way. Amanda will tell me, you've been around us. She'll tell me in a second. She'll be like, yo, relax, dude. Yesterday, she told me I was in a bad mood like 18 times. She's like, will you get out of your mood, please? I'm like, yes, sorry.
I can relate to that. You know what's funny about that? I was going to take this. I was going to take that a couple different ways, but I'm going to go this way. Like, it's interesting because Limerick surveyed the top 1% of life insurance agents, and the most common character attribute was optimism, which is funny because, like, I feel like optimism and positivity are actually more different than people think. So, like, optimism is like hope for the future. I believe it's always going to work out. I'm optimistic, right? Positive is like, dude, I'm in a bad mood and I'm just negative, whatever. Like, it's funny because I've even heard Cardone talk about this for years. Like, I am positive at times, but dude, I get negative and ticked off and get in bad moods. And then Lauren and Cassidy and Lindsay and everybody else are like, dude, won't you freaking cheer up, man? And so it's interesting.
Are you more negative by default or positive by default? You like a half, what do they say? Cup half full by default or not?
No, I mean, I think I'm more probably positive than negative naturally, because I always see the cup as like half full,
Yeah, you know what's funny is I'm not.
Yeah.
My default is more negative. So I have to fight that a lot. I was raised around a lot of negative, you know what I mean? Like, I just, so if something goes wrong, I think, like, an example, Steph and I will be driving down the road or whatever, or you could use an agent situations. I'm going to say this one just for kicks because it's irrelevant to what we do. But, like, if someone cuts me off, I think by default they did it on purpose. Where Stephanie by default thinks they didn't see her and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And in most situations, my instinct is like, yo, why'd they do that to me? Where Stephanie's default is, they probably didn't mean that. I should handle it this way. And so I have to watch that about myself. So I am really positive, but my trigger instinct right off the rip is not. So I have to, I work on it every day, bro. I have to work on it, dude.
Huh. What are some of the things what are some of the things that you've done over the years to improve it and work on it? Because, like, and for you guys listening, like, if you've never hung out with John, like, dude, John's a positive, inspiring dude when you're around him, right? Like, you dream bigger, you think bigger, you want to do more, right? Which is awesome. So to hear him say, like, his trigger is like negative, I think that would surprise people.
Yeah, because I think everyone thinks it's easy to be, and I'm like, dude, I literally every day have to talk to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the gym a lot. I do a lot of challenging things. Dude, I don't want to be there a lot.
Yeah.
And I literally have to tell myself to stop punking out. I'm like, will you cut it out? Or
that
if I
helps
go
a lot.
negative, or I think, like, I'll hang on to things sometimes. There's things in my past that bother me. If you did something to me, like, I'll get over it, but in my head, it's there still.
Wow.
And I have to be like, dude, let it, like, I literally will speak out loud to myself. I'm like, cut it out, you dipshit, dude. Stop it.
Yeah.
You know, I have to control it a lot, man. It's
That's
wild.
interesting because you could literally like punch me in the face today and like tomorrow I would have forgot.
Yeah, I'm not wired like that.
How and Lauren's like, dude, that's weird. I'm like, I'm like moved on. You know, I don't know. Like
I will move past it, but I won't forget.
Sure. Yeah, got it.
Does that make sense? Which bothers me.
Is there a little bit of yeah, well, and is there a little bit of like, I don't want to say revenge, but like, is there a little bit of like ultra competitive desire in there that's like, dude, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't want to be that dude, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I won't ever, even if you do something I'm not the guy that's going to go, I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that moves on. All I'm saying is it's work every day.
Yeah.
To be who I want to be is work.
Totally.
You know?
Yep. You also mentioned the gym.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a phenomenal de-stressor. Like this business is stressful. This business is naturally negative. This business is hard. Like, can it be simple? Yes. Does it mean it's easy? No. You're right. So is that why you go, or do you go for a different reason?
Yeah. I mean, it's a combination of things. So some things I get to do, like if I do Orange Theory, like a class.
Yeah.
I love it because I get to put my phone away for an hour and I won't look at it.
I love that.
That feeling for an hour of just check out from the world, dude, I love.
That's awesome.
Now, if I'm in the regular gym, it's in my pocket because I listen to music or a podcast and it's in my pocket. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a different feeling. And also, man, I'll be honest, I'm almost 47. I like being the 47-year-old who's kind of jacked. I like being different than most 47-year-olds.
Yep. And the 47-year-old that doesn't look like he's almost freaking 50.
Yeah.
Bro, people would pass you for 37 before 47. Like,
I appreciate it, dude.
I'm serious. You guys vote down below.
Yeah, I'm 2 months. In March, I'll be 47, man.
Dude, but maybe that's maybe that is like taking care of yourself and the importance.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I think that's also important. Like, do you have to have a great physique to dominate insurance? No. But do I believe that the health piece and the fitness piece actually helps you from a mental standpoint in this business? 1,000%.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, dude, is I felt kind of like a hypocrite in some ways when I would talk about being disciplined in business. And that's who I was. When that wasn't who I was. I was disciplined in insurance.
Yeah.
But I wasn't disciplined. I was fat and out of shape. You know what I mean? And like, it was bad. And I made all kinds of excuses. And I'm like, dude, I'm being just like the agent that I get mad at with my health.
Correct.
Which is the most important thing for me at this stage. Cause getting old, as you know, like you're not near my age, but I bet you don't feel like you did 5 years ago, bro.
No.
Like I remember 30 started changing.
Dude.
You know, so it's like, I'm afraid to lose it now.
I actually want to sleep now.
Yeah. It's funny. You've wanted to sleep since I've known you. So I don't know a different version.
That's a good point, dude. I'm literally
8:35, dude. Cody's yawning for sure.
No doubt. We've been at so many dinners and stuff over the years, events, whatever. You are 1,000%. Like people can tell, like literally we'll be at dinner, like business dinners and stuff. And they'll look at somebody will be like, yep, Cody just checked out.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm 100%. Like, yep, have a great night. Love you all.
So it does, man. It keeps me positive. It's a de-stressor for me for sure. If I don't work out, people around me notice. Mando will be like, you didn't go to the gym today, huh? I'm like,
interesting.
Damn.
Literally walk in the door and like my team's the same way. They can literally tell by how I walk in the door.
Yeah.
I don't have to speak. They can just see it on me. Yeah. How wild is that?
Yeah. There's some science to it. I'm sure someone can explain. I've heard it. I don't know how to articulate it, but I've certainly heard the science behind it and believe in it because I feel it, you know, and I feel good, dude. I feel more confident. You know, people look at you differently for sure. Oh my God. I mean, I spent I'm about 4 years into this health journey. So I spent 42, 43 years with one perception that I would hear from people. Now when I hear what people see, I still see the 42, 43 years of me.
Yeah.
I don't see what people see physically. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm learning.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I look at a mirror, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not in bad shape, but I hear things and people are like, holy sh. And I'm like, oh, like Maddox was telling me yesterday, he's like, all my friends are afraid of you. I'm like, well, why? They're like, because you're jacked, they say. I'm like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I have 11-year-olds afraid of me, 12-year-olds. Great. He's being a dork. He's a pain in my butt.
Yeah. I love that though. Yeah. Dude, that's cool. You know what's funny is about what you're saying is like couple things. One, I can totally relate. Like 2018, I'm going to events and we're starting 8% and all this stuff, 5.5 years ago. And I felt like a hypocrite during our first 8% conference because I'm like, be disciplined, show up, be consistent. And I wasn't going to the gym. And I lived literally like a quarter of a mile from the gym, like it was, I could see it out my window, Here's one thing I wanted to close with. What would you say to the agent that is always looking for like the super secret ninja phrase and the secret bullet and the perfect lead source and the technology that does everything for them? Because you guys listening, you know who you are. There's a bunch of these freaking people out there.
It's most, dude.
It is.
Man, one, I was you at one point, so I can somewhat.
There's hope.
I still relate.
Yeah.
But what I would tell myself, if I could go back in time to 2008 when I first applied to this position, it took me till 2010 to get my license, and it took me to 2012 to sell my first policy, and it took me till 2015 till I made real money.
Crazy.
I would strangle the shit out of myself and shake myself and bang my head against the wall and tell myself to stop overcomplicating this thing. You know what I mean? I want to strangle myself sometimes. I'm very grateful for where it ended up, and it helps in the journey because I feel when I speak, I can relate to that person. I'm not the dude who walked in killing it, which to me, that person feels very unrelatable to most people. So I'm grateful that it happened because it allows me to be who I am in today's world of insurance,
Yep.
But what I learned, man, is if you really look at, like when I was on Mike's team call last night, I took a guy, it was their number 3 producer, and we went through his numbers because he was 3rd. And when I was asking if there's anybody that feels like they're still struggling and lacking success and not where they want to be and just getting by in life and finances and struggling, almost everybody raised their hand. And he was number 3 on their leaderboard and still felt that. Right. So we started walking through. I'm like, let me ask you some questions. And I went through like how many he mainly door knocks, right? He knocks on like 15 doors. He gets like 20 leads a week, right? And he gets to like 12 people answer the door. And I'm like, well, how long does each one take? He was like, I don't know, a minute. I'm like, okay. So you spend 12 minutes knocking on doors, and he would do like 8 presentations a week. And I'm like, well, how long are those? And he's like, I don't know, hour and a half. I'm like, all right, so we got like 12 hours there. And we look at that and how many phone calls, he barely made any. There was a couple last week because he was like snowed in. He made like 120 for the week.
That was a lot.
Yeah, for him, it was because he normally makes 0.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how long do those take? And he's a minute. So we're like, all right, we got another 2 hours. So we got 12 minutes knocking on doors. We got 8 hours in houses, and we got 2 hours on the phone. And we came up to like, his total was like, I think 15 hours, whatever the number was. Right. Him verbalizing this to me. And then we looked at his money, and he made like a couple grand for the week. Right. But then he had expenses and lead costs and his personal bills and all that thing. And I'm like, all right, divide one by the other, 2 grand by the 15 hours. And it was $133 an hour. And I said, is there anything else you do that makes money? All the other stuff you're doing, the calling carriers, sorting stuff, all the things you think are work. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, can you figure out how to do 40 hours of those things Just those that like pretend we're an attorney and we're billable hours. You've used attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
They turn on the billable hours at some point, only when they're working for Cody. Does that make sense?
Correct.
When they're doing other stuff, it doesn't count. And so I'm like, can we look at it like that?
That's good.
And what I would say is if you would audit and be honest with yourself about the amount of hours that you're spending doing what makes you money in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And some people argue, I got to study and learn all these other things. And I'm like, when I was an accountant, I had to spend 40 hours being an accountant. But if I wanted to do more, I had to study and go to school outside of being an accountant. I didn't get to go to school while I was at my accounting job during the 40 hours and get better. I had to do my 40 hours plus get better outside of that. So my point is to those watching, I bet money, bro. Like Jalen and Mike at the end were like, based on that math, they don't do 40 hours. I'm like, I didn't either.
Yeah.
So when I changed my philosophy, like there's a timer on when I'm calling clients, when I'm sitting with clients, and when I'm interviewing potential agents. That's the only time my billable hours were on. When I changed to 40 hours of that, even at the mediocre level of skill set I had, it tripled my income because I had billable hours now. All the other crap, y'all watching this, it's not a billable hour for you. You ain't making no money today with this. You should watch this tonight. If y'all are watching this and you should be dialing, stop watching it. Watch it later. Yeah. Cody still gets the view if you watch it tonight.
I get 2 views.
Correct. You know what I mean? So there's hope, but you got to stop lying to yourself and incorporating all this other crap into you being full time. And dude, you and I have talked, and I've learned enough, man. I'll do it with someone live this week at our event.
Good.
If you want, like straight up someone's.
I love that.
And it was awesome because it was a revelation not only to the dude, but to everybody that was on the call. And I got so many messages after, like, I ain't working 40 hours when you look at it that way. Like, what do you mean that way? That's the way the world works. Like we go, I'm driving to houses. I drove 15 hours this week. Bro, when you had a regular job and you drove, that didn't count towards your 40. So why here do agents count stuff that doesn't otherwise count?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? And we're negative about our result. And so I told this dude, like most agents, I'm sure you're negative sometimes and upset about your situation. And you get foul and bent out of shape when you get a charge back on the same day you were supposed to buy leads that happens to be on the same day as your kid's birthday or whatever. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, next time you think that, I want you to call someone that's not in insurance and complain to them that you only worked 15 hours this week in your field and you're mad. He was like, I ain't making that call, bro. You know what I mean? And that's how I looked. I had to look myself in the mirror, and mine came up to 12 hours a week, man, when I was only counting those specific things. Crazy. And so I was like, I'm a fool.
Yeah.
Why would I not do more hours in what really makes me money? And then I still should train. I should still deal with carrier stuff, but I'm going to do that on top of the 40.
Yeah.
And that changed my world, bro. And that's why I talk about it. Because it's so easy to implement.
Yeah.
I can't give you a magic bullet that's going to triple your income tomorrow. A magic objection overcoming phrase. But if you audit your hours legit with that, and I don't know if I can give them that tracker thing. If you want, I will. If not, we can just oversee it.
I don't care.
But for me, I built it on a spreadsheet. And if y'all want the spreadsheet I use that tracks everything you do, it factors in how many appointments, how many phone calls, how many meetings you have, how many door knocks you do. And it does the math that I just said for you. It will show you every week how many hours you work, and it's free. And it tracks your deposits. It tracks your return on investment. It tracks how much you make per phone call, per appointment, all of it, just because that's what I did for me.
Yep.
And so now I just give it out. So if y'all
is there a link to get that if we want to put that below? Yeah.
Yeah, just johnwetmore.com.
Okay.
Straight up. And when you register for the newsletter that's on there, you'll get it instantly free. It just comes right to you.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's literally the Excel sheet I used. I referenced it last night. So I've been talking about it for 10 years. And I just finally, y'all helped with the website. And I'm like, I should be an adult on the internet now, like in marketing. So y'all helped me with the website, and we put some stuff together, and we're just going to give away free value to people, man. That helps people be successful.
I love it. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming back on, man. I always love hanging with you. Appreciate you dropping some gold. We had some new questions and answers today, which was nice. Okay. A little change of pace. Yeah. If they want to learn more, I'm guessing they can go to johnwetmore.com. Any other instructions?
They can. Yeah. I mean, they can go there. It leads to my social. If you want to hit me up, DM me, tag me. I'm actually the one on Instagram and Facebook. As you know, we had that conversation offline.
Yes.
But I love hearing how we help people. You know what I mean? I do get joy out of hearing those. So if you're doing good things and want to let us know, great, do it. If you have a question and you're actually going to listen, I like answering them and helping people. You know, so hit me up if I can help with anything, for sure.
I love that. Boom. Appreciate you being on, buddy. And thank you guys for hanging out and listening to the Power Player Podcast. We will see you on the next episode. Adios. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.